Hello, dear friend. In this video, I will talk to you about the personality traits of people you should never fall in love with. Before we start the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like and share the video for more content. Love can be uncontrollable at times, but at least during that process, if you notice the traits I'll mention shortly, try to slow things down a bit. Reduce the meeting slightly. If you can take a few steps back, it will be much better, and you'll protect your mental health. Because the things that harm people the most are bad relationships and bad people. If you're ready, let me tell you about these people's traits. The first thing I want to say is that some people have difficult sides like being angry, impatient, or stubborn. These challenging traits aren't necessarily a barrier to having a relationship with someone, as long as the person is aware of their difficult sides. However, some people not only possess these difficult traits, but also blame you when you react to them. They act as if these traits are the most natural thing in the world, as if it's easy to deal with, but in reality, they are very difficult people. I advise you to be careful with such people. When arguing about any issue, they present an argument, maybe blaming you or finding you at fault. Even when you clearly prove their mistake, even when everything is obvious, they still refuse to admit it and claim they are always right. I personally prefer to stay away from such people, even as friends, because people who can never admit they are wrong or made a mistake are really hard to get along with. Let's say you give the other person feedback, whether it's about the relationship, friendship, or life in general. In that moment, as soon as you provide feedback, they immediately deflect by saying things like, "You're not perfect either. You've made mistakes in the past. Who do you think you are?" If that happens, know that in the future you'll always have arguments with this person, and they will attack you defensively. You should take that into account. Criticism, I think, is something that should exist in a relationship or friendship. However, we must balance criticism with appreciation. We need to know how to appreciate the other person as much as we criticize them. If, despite appreciating them, they get angry over a small piece of criticism and start seeing you as rude or insensitive, this person might be overly sensitive to criticism. You should also consider that when trying to give feedback to such a person, it will be quite difficult. There are people who intentionally provoke you, pushing your buttons until you get furious. And then, when you explode with anger, they turn around and say, "Why are you so angry? There's nothing to be upset about. You're overreacting. I didn't say anything." If you come across such people, I think you need to be cautious. In my opinion, one of the most challenging things, even though it may seem harmless, is when you're in a relationship and a problem arises. The other person makes a mistake and you say, "I can't live with this anymore. Fix it, or I'll leave." In that moment, they might beg you or kindly promise to fix the mistake, but a few days later, they revert to their old ways as if nothing ever happened. If that happens, know that the person in front of you will likely continue behaving like this for the next 10 years. Are you ready for that? You have dreams and ambitions. You want to accomplish great things, and your life isn't just about relationships. But if the person in front of you belittles your dreams or accuses you of chasing meaningless fantasies, they might be a dream killer, someone who discourages you. Be cautious of that as well. Another point is when someone is constantly pursuing you for a relationship. But whenever you start to get emotionally close to them, they find a way to ruin the relationship. These people might lack self-confidence, hate themselves, or fear intimacy. Yes, these might be issues that can be resolved over time, but you might not be the one to fix them. Sometimes these people need 5 or 10 relationships to overcome their self-hatred or insecurity. Think about which number you are in that process, because these people can be truly exhausting. You share the same home, the same environment, maybe even the same workplace. Regardless of whether those things are present in any relationship, there are certain responsibilities that both parties must share. If the other person refuses to take on any responsibility and always has an excuse, they will likely avoid greater responsibilities in the future as the relationship becomes more serious. At the beginning of a relationship, it might seem like emotions are all you need, but over time, you'll realize that the things I mentioned will become much more important. So, if the person in front of you possesses the traits I've listed, I advise you to think carefully and slow down. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself, wonderful person. See you next time. Goodbye.